Boaters, boaters, it's pauly.com. How you doing? How's everyone doing tonight? Never have a podcast without my main man, Captain Buzz. Captain Buzz, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing all right.
Are you doing all right after being sick for a week?
Yeah, it's been a tough week, but I'm on the mend.
You're on the mend?
Thank you. Yeah. How's
the
your
question
back?
is, do you have my back? I went to the doctors today, the spine doctor, and he doesn't like me very much, and I don't really like him very much.
Well, I'm glad.
I will tell you that much.
I'm glad
too
you're
many
on the
years
mend
buffing
as well.
boats. Too many years crawling underneath the boats, and too many years buffing boats.
So I know we've got a special evening this evening.
We have an awesome special guest on tonight.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce our special guest, a legend on the Chesapeake Bay.
We have a legend on the Chesapeake Bay in Baltimore County, Mr. Sam Weaver from Weaver's Marine Service. Sam, introduce yourself, my good man.
Hi, I'm Sam Weaver from Weaver's Marine Service in Essex, Maryland, since 1945.
1945. So this is awesome. I can't wait to get into Sam's story. This is going to be awesome.
This is going to be great. All right, let's kick it off. I'll go into my captain's briefing. And
what do you do? What do you got over here? Talk to me about captain's briefing.
Well, it's one of those things. You've got to learn a couple of nautical knots, right? Practice your knots. Learn how to tie a proper cleat hitch. Learn how to tie a clove hitch. Maybe a bowline, maybe a round turn with 2 half hitches. Just and there's some great YouTube videos out there for slowly learning how to do it. Get yourself a little piece of practice line, and it's always important to understand how to do those correctly. And it's amazing how, and you know me.
It's called basic seamanship, and learn what you got to do.
Yeah, you know me, Pauly. I get crazy when
Yeah, that's because you're anal Bob. Yeah, we get it.
My wife can't stand it. Now, the other day though, we pulled into St. Michael's, right? And she's up in the bow, and she's tying to it's a fixed dock, so she's tying the bow cleats to the poles. And after she was done, I went up there and it was perfect. And I came back and she goes,
"I'll be a son of a bitch."
And I made her day. I said, "Jenny, they were perfect. I didn't have to do anything. They were."
Yeah, normally it doesn't go that well with your wife.
Anyway, practice your knots. Watch some YouTubes. Get a little confidence when you're handling lines. What do you got for a detailer's briefing?
I'll tell you what, 'tis the season, my friend. We got boats that are getting put into bed soon, and the haul out's coming out, winterization's coming out, shrink wrapping's coming out. The multi-million-dollar question that I ask every boater under the sun is, how do you put your boat to bed? How do you put the boat to bed? What do you necessarily do to put your boat away? And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to ask Sam and see what his thoughts are on it. But as a detailer, I want the boat emptied. I want all cabinets open. I want all drawers open. I want all soft goods pulled off the boat.
Yeah.
I want damp rids in the cabin. I want damp rid hanging bags hanging. You know what I mean? And I'll see what Sam's got to say about that, whether he, what he likes to do himself.
Well, I agree with you 100%.
You agree with me 100%.
Outstanding.
Right. Empty out your cabin. Get everything off. Soft goods, your damp rids, whether you're using buckets, whether you're using, they have a 3-month supply for damp rids, whether they last 3 months or your 30-day damp rids. I like the bags that are scented. Too many people leave too much nonsense inside their cabins, and they wonder why their cabins smell at the end of the year.
Take that
Sam
stuff
just jumped
out
in and
dry it when you get home. Lines, fenders, life jackets, get that all
and
off.
Sam, jump in anytime you want there, Cap, because I'll tell you what, since 1940s, you got the skill set.
Anytime that you leave all that stuff in there to freeze and thaw out and overheat, it's got to do something. It's got to have effects on it, and it's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, good point.
I'll tell you what. It's, and Captain Buzz is the same way. He's got a 42-foot, 2004 420 Sea Ray Sundancer with twin 418 horsepower Cummins diesels, and that cabin is completely emptied at the end of the physical season. All drawers are open. All cabinet doors are open. Any type of storage is lifted. Outside of the outside of the vinyl that's on the cushions, everything's out of the boat.
Well, that's so important. I mean, it's little things like that make a big difference. Just venting the shrink wrap and stuff. There's a lot of places that don't pay as much attention, and people that don't pay attention to venting proper ventilation for the winter is a big deal, and people don't pay attention as much as they should to that.
Great. You ever have that smell that you get in the boat? That you get in the boats, and they wonder that's something that happens over the course of time for just leaving everything in your boat. And don't be lazy. Be productive. Get it off the boat.
Mm-hmm. I mean, people don't roll up their lines or anything else.
Oh, Captain Buzz takes, and so do I. All lines, all bumpers, all fender covers. The boat is completely empty by the time we get ready to, go ahead and put shrink wrap on.
We had a 45 Viking out here for a couple of years. The guy had health issues and all, but the lines were hanging out in the yard for, the last 3 years, Jeff?
3 straight years, Jeff. They've
been hanging off the side of the boat. Bumpers, lines, everything else.
Right, because they don't want to sit inside the boat and cause an odor, smell, building up moisture, and it doesn't do any justice for the cabin at all.
Yeah. But I mean, he didn't even take them off the boat. He was still hanging out the side of the boat on land.
I'd rather seeing them hanging outside than sitting inside a lazarette collecting mold.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a good time when you take that stuff off to inspect it, make sure it's all in good working order. If it isn't, replace it over the winter for the start of the next season, and you're good to go. Rather than any surprises, right, when you leave that stuff and open up a cabinet in the springtime and find it all moldy and nasty.
Buzzy, let's let Mr. Weaver go right into it. With all the years that he's been in the business, he has so much to physically add to our podcast. And I'm so excited to hear about the story, of Weaver's Marine Service.
Yeah, how did it get started, Sam?
My father and his brother started in 1945. They actually paid $600 for the property.
Oh, my God.
Cut trees down and made their own pile driver. They drove the trees that they cut down to make the first piers.
Wow.
And in Isabel in 2003 wiped us out. In 2005, we installed new floating docks, and they actually pulled some of the trees that my father used for poles. Still had the bark and the limbs. We tried to preserve a couple of them, but we left them laying on the beach till the project was done. And a year and a half later, they were like sawdust.
They were sawdust. They were dead.
Yeah,
wow.
Because there was nothing left to them except the part they pulled out of the ground. And when they pulled it out of the ground and exposed it to the air, it went like that.
Oh, my God.
How about that?
Oh, my God.
We were going to drive it in the ground out in the picnic area and put a sign on it, but it didn't make it.
It didn't make it at the end of the day. Oh, my God.
But anyway, he started off building boats in 1945, and his brother and him worked at Martin's and, graduated into the boat business and started off building boats. They only built a couple of boats, and then they got into the repair part of it, found a need and a niche that they enjoyed and knew how to do. My father was real good with wood and everything, so they started off repairing, and it just grew and grew and grew. We got into boat sales for a number of years, but we just weren't good at that, so we went back to what we do the best, and that's repairs.
You went back to your roots. You knew that repairs was your style. I'll tell you what, Captain Buzz, when I was over at Boat Bay, Tommy Covert from Dory Yacht Sales was doing a sea trial and a survey. And during the survey on a Viking, help me out here. That was a 42 or a 45? 48. That was a 48 Viking motor yacht.
48.
And during the survey, Captain Buzz, they found, that there was a little bit of rot in one of the bulkhead walls. And the entire survey stopped, like the whole world stopped turning. And I said to him, like, whoa. I'm like, what's going on here? Because I had to come in and do a full clean job on the boat to make sure that the boater was happy, like the prospective buyers. But what was awesome about it, Sam, didn't you go up to Bow Bay and you ran that boat back?
Yeah, the owner asked us to run it back. And I went up and picked it up. Jeff dropped me off, and we brought the boat back down here and made the necessary repairs. And then I took the boat back and tied it back in the slip, and he brought me back. The owner brought me back.
You know what, Jeff? Do me a favor. Walk over here, and I'm very curious about this because I want to hear Jeff's report on this. And Buzzy, like everybody stopped. The surveyor completely stopped everything in his tracks. But I'll tell you what, Jeff, tell me, what was physically going on? Like, what did you see? I mean, was the surveyor right to do what he did? Like, what did you find in the customer's boat?
It was a small bulkhead from port to starboard side in the galley with about 3 foot, maybe 4 foot by 18 inches of rot on a bulkhead that didn't even go all the way through. It should have never stopped the survey. It was a minor repair. And instead of him checking out the rest of the whole boat, he stopped the survey for nothing.
But I'll tell you what, you guys went up, you picked up the boat, the customer had full faith in you, brought it back to your service center, and completely fixed everything.
Yes.
Well, it was the same boat that we outrigged for the Great Loop.
You outrigged it for the Great Loop. Buzzy, they put in, Sam, what motor you put in? A brand new set of Ivecos.
Invectus.
Invectus, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we took out a pair of 892s. We had to cut a hole in the side of the boat and take out a pair of 892 Detroits and put a pair of inline 6-cylinder Invectus that were 770 horsepower. And not only that, but we ran into the boat we were showed ahead of time to do the job. Correct me if I'm wrong, was a Sport Fish, a Viking Sport Fish. These engines didn't fit in. Was it the gas tank or the water tank?
It was fuel tank.
The fact that you remember it that well, that's just amazing to me.
The pulleys on the front of the motor didn't fit in the boat. So we had to cut a hole in the fuel tanks, which were fiberglass, and fiberglass a notch in the front of the fuel tank so the pulleys would fit in, because the dimensions from the Sport Fish and the motor yacht were about, 8-10 inches off.
And
he remembers it that vividly. That's the type of service providers that we have on the. I love it. This is what I love. This is amazing.
So what else needed to be done to that boat to get it ready for the Great Loop? That just sounds amazing.
What else did you guys do, guys, to the boat for the Great Loop?
A bunch of electronics work on the radios, the engines. We did some generator work.
And we rebuilt the transom platform.
We did some glass work, some cosmetic glass work, and that was pretty much it that I can remember.
So you guys are not just repowers; you're doing everything.
Yeah, you guys are not just repower. You can do everything.
We do
whatever
everything
the customer's needs are,
except for canvas and upholstery. We do it all except for canvas and upholstery.
Okay,
aluminum welding.
Yep.
And
we don't do that. We can have it done.
Well, it's a pretty short list of what you don't do compared to what you do. That's amazing.
We're just off the top. We're Cummins. We're Volvo diesel. We're IPS. We're Mercruiser. Volvo diesel. IPS. Crusader. The list goes on and on. We paint boats from top to bottom, inside and out. We just did a fountain that had a rotten transom in it. It was at another marina, and they pulled the motors and the trim tabs off, and they sent it to us. It needed a transom, but it also needed 8 stringers from the transom to the back seat were rotten. So we cut the top of them out, replaced the stringers with Cusa board.
You did all Cusa board, okay?
Yeah, put a new transom in it, and it's all ready to go. It's over there on a trailer right now.
Well, you know what? I'm going to stop everything dead in its tracks. With Mr. Jeff sitting here, Jeff, I apologize and please forgive me. Introduce yourself and your position here at Weaver's Marine Service.
Chief bottle washer. No.
Go ahead. Tell everybody. Did you hear that, Buzzy?
I heard it.
I'm Jeff Sainer. I'm Sam's partner. I've been here for 45 years and basically run the business and do all the paperwork. And
he's done it all. He worked his way through college by building drives and doing fiberglass work and painting bottoms. And he's real good at spray painting. He spray painted cars for a while, but he also spray painted a 45-foot Sea Ray, a dark blue 45 Sea Ray. And we had people working for us before that didn't do as nice a job as Jeff did.
So Jeff's the main man with a spray gun.
Yes.
With a painter's gun.
Used to be.
Oh, come on with that used to be shit. I don't want to hear that.
So I should stop polishing my gel coat and bring my boat down to have it painted? Is that what I'm saying?
Oh, you'll think he died and went to heaven.
Oh, dude, I'm so tired.
I'll tell you what, we'll do it. Yeah.
It don't fade. It don't do any of that stuff.
Listen, I've been buffing his boat with him for years. I'm the one who makes sure that it stays. I will say this much. I have taught Buzzy how to use a wheel. Captain Buzz has been doing his absolute best. And I kind of feel bad because I haven't been helping him as much as I would like to, because all docked up is exploding at an incredible rate.
So
but he needs that boat.
You need to bring it in here and have us paint it, and you all retire from the buffers.
Wow. How long did okay, I make an appointment and I bring the boat down. How long does a job like that take?
Probably a month in the winter.
About 30 days throughout the course of the winter, because that's a winter job.
Well, just a
off of the bat.
haul, we could do 2 weeks probably.
It's just a haul. But
Just a
Buzzy and Sam hasn't, or Jeff haven't told you this. They have a complete booth, heated, vented,
Wow.
ready to go.
60 feet long and 40 feet tall and 30 feet wide. With
Okay.
heat in the floor.
That'll do.
That'll fit my
That'll
girl.
do.
That'll fit my
The
girl in
heat
there.
is in the floor.
Oh, wow.
Sam, I'll tell you right now, Buzzy's got alligator arms, and I'm going to twist them a little bit.
Wait a second.
To see if we can get the
We
bay
can
out
put
down here.
fiberglass extensions on them.
Oh my! You hear this, Buzz? Dude, I'm talking to the two main men here. So I'm gonna spend your money for you, and I know you'll hate my guts for doing it, but I'm good at it.
Wait,
You got to give me that.
Did I just hear I'm
Well,
going
let
to be a fiberglass extension on my alligator arms? Is that what I heard?
Yes, that's what you heard. One thing I'd like to say right now that my father and Jeff and I come to the rude awakening years ago. My dad, when he painted wooden boats, if you made a customer happy, he was back next year. If we make a customer happy, he's back in 10 years.
I agree.
Big difference.
Good
Yeah,
point.
but you
You
know
have to
what,
have a
though?
lot
I will
more
tell you what,
customers.
Captain Buzz,
Good point.
Sam and Jeff, you pride yourselves in such a way to like your legacy is boat building. You're building boats, you're servicing boats, you're doing everything under the sun. You're Buzzy, we don't see this. How many times do we go out and see this type of dedication in the boating industry like Weaver's Marine Service?
Yeah, no, it's unique.
Very
and
seldom.
It's
It's seldom.
It's exciting to hear from these gentlemen about that. Absolutely.
And we take pride in a business that my father built years ago, and Jeff and I have taken over and done wonders with it. There's a lot of businesses on the bay that have been taken over by the younger children, whatever you want to call them, and complete disasters.
Because they don't have the experience of the work
Well, they
ethic,
had the
Sam, that you and
experience, they
Jeff
just don't have
have.
the work ethics.
They don't have it.
Yeah.
My father's
Their
off
father
the boat
would roll
Italian.
over.
Like, I got smacked upside the head just for looking crooked. I mean,
Right.
I'm sorry. I was raised
I
old
got
school
knocked in the
Italian.
next day. Both of us would have.
But I'll tell you what, though, Buzzy, we have, Sam is getting ready to put the, Weaver's Marine Service on the platform. And it's just another connection that we're physically going to have. And they're so busy. And we're going to work with, Weaver's Marine Service. But, things got to slow down. They have a lack of staff, just like everybody else does in the entire marine industry. But we're all going to work together and we're going to make this happen. Jeff's going to probably want to kill me. And I get that. But I mean, what are we going to do?
I'd like to go back here a little bit. And how old were each of you when you started now? Sam, sounds like if it was dad's business, you were probably in the cradle at the boatyard. But
yeah,
when
I had
did you
a
guys
boat
start
when I was
working there?
5.
5 years old.
Well, I actually started working when I was 12, but I started boating when I was 5, and I tell everybody if you gave a kid a boat 5 years old today, you'd probably get locked up. But I had a wooden dinghy. I had a wooden dinghy when I was 5, and I was allowed to row around between the two piers. The next year, one of our customers gave us a 1 horsepower Elgin, I believe, and I was allowed
A 1 horsepower what?
Elgin.
I don't even know what that is.
That's because you're a youngster.
That's because I'm a young buck. I just turned 40.
Before you.
I'm 71, so.
You're a young man.
Anyway, I was allowed to go between this marina and the next marina up, which is Riverside Marine now.
Okay.
And then the third year, I was allowed to go between Back River Bridge and Cox's Point. As long as my parents could see me, I was okay. And then the following year, when I was 9 or something, I was allowed to go to the airport. And then by the time I was 10 or 11, I was going out to Hart Miller's Island.
Wow.
This is awesome.
But
I love it.
yeah.
I love hearing the history. I love
That's how we grew up. He lived 4 doors up on the water. He grew up on the water, and he started here cutting grass and stuff, and worked his way all through college. I mean, when guys tell him, if it takes him an hour to paint a bottom, and it should have took 30 minutes, he knows. You're not BSing.
No, you're not
knows.
BSing Jeff.
He's
Jeff
done it
knows
all.
what's going
He's
on.
done
He's
it
40
all.
some years
Yeah.
in the business, but I'll tell you what, the skill set that you were so lucky to have Mr. Jeff, running
Beyond
everything.
one.
And you're so blessed because the knowledge that he has, the knowledge that's in his brain, I'll tell you what don't even come close to some of the providers that I chat with. The skill set's just not there. It's a different time. It's a different era.
So how big is the business now? How many people work there?
Hold
Well,
on,
we
Buzzy.
had 18. We're
What-
down to 15 now, or 14 now.
I'm sorry, Jeff. What did you say?
Used to drive my boat from here to the house with the forklift and dropped it in the yard, an old wooden boat. And I was 12 years old. Took the forklift up the street, put the boat in the yard, worked on it all winter, go up in the spring, put it back in the water. And that was with our forklift.
Oh my God!
When I was 12
Talk
years
about
old.
a mobile travel lift.
That's
Oh my
right.
God!
And they was loved me.
Well, it was funny because my father, we started off with electric travel lift. I had to plug it in every place we went. It was 240.
Whoa! Really?
Yes.
Until you got electrocuted with it.
Yeah.
Until you
One
got
day-
electrocuted.
No, that's no joke. I was
No
standing
joke,
in
it's
the
true.
wet grass and I was trying to plug the extension cords in because we had to drag extension cords all over the place.
What, the old school travel lifts?
Oh, my
Yes.
God.
My dad
Were
built it.
electric?
My dad built a travel lift back in the 60s. Nobody even knew what they were. And then he built a self-propelled one that he engineered himself. And the only thing he couldn't make it do was steer. When I was a kid, I swang on the uprights. But he made the first travel
Oh
lift.
my God!
And then
Buzzy,
But-
Captain Buzz, are you hearing this?
Every
But
word.
we
I'm
had
enthralled.
3 railways first. But the electric travel lift, I was standing in the wet grass and I tried to plug it together one time. And it was going up through my arms.
You got
And
electrocuted.
I couldn't let it go. And it finally left me go, and it threw me back against a blue pickup truck. I'll never forget my door. It bent the door of the truck.
Wow.
But we started with electric travel lift, and then we had a homemade travel lift that we could haul to about 35 foot.
About
It was
35.
self-propelled, and the only thing he couldn't make it do, he couldn't figure out how his steering didn't work. It would steer without a load in it, but it wouldn't steer with a load
With
in
a
it.
load in it.
So he had a hydraulic engineer come down here, and he made the steering for us. But other than that, my father designed the whole travel.
Ingenuity at its finest. You had to get a boat out of the water and you had to figure out a way to steer the travel lift that you designed and
My
your
dad.
father designed in the yard. We're talking history here.
Yeah.
This is where it all started. And
We
it was guys like your dad who started it all.
Yeah. We started with the railway out there, and during the winter, we used to get a lot of ice. We could drive cars all over the river and everything out to the islands. And the problem with that was when we put a big job in the shop, when they were done, we'd have 4 or 5 guys standing around the shop with nothing to do because we couldn't launch the boat to get the next one in.
Right.
So then that's how the travel lift evolved. And when my father, back in 2002 or
I love it. He looks towards Jeff.
Yep.
I love it. This is
2004,
you two are so cool. It's unbelievable.
we bought a hydraulic trailer and we paid $38,000 for a hydraulic
Was that a
25,000
Hostar?
pound. Yes.
A Hostar hydraulic
Isn't
trailer.
it?
Okay.
No, it's Campbell. It's out of Canada.
It's out of Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canada.
What's the name of it?
It doesn't matter. I'm just
Con-
curious. I know Hostar
Con-
because that's in my head.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Anyway, my father told me $38,000 for a trailer. That was completely ridiculous. That was the stupidest thing he ever seen. And he was like 80 something. He was sitting up the house one day, and we moved like 5 boats in the morning with the hydraulic trailer. And he came out and told me that was the best piece of equipment he's ever. He lived long enough. He didn't understand the hydraulic trailer. He didn't have the concept. And I had seen it up north someplace, and they were hauling boats up, sitting on the hydraulic trailer, and away they went while they were hauling another boat up. They'd wash it in the trailer, sit it on the trailer, away they went. And I'm like, wow, I got to have one of them. We had this big old, we called it Big Blue, a big old forklift. But when it died, we couldn't afford to buy a new forklift because we didn't have a high and dry. You would need a high and dry.
You would need a high and dry, sure.
To pay.
Absolutely. To justify
Right, the
spending that
expense.
kind of money.
So I seen this hydraulic trailer and I bought it and I spent him and I spent $38,000 for a chair, and my father went nuts. He just thought that was the stupidest thing. He didn't tell us no, but he thought it was.
But
the
he let you know that
stupidest
you were
thing.
stupid.
Yeah.
Sounds like
And
my father from the old country.
One day he watched us move a whole bunch of boats. I don't know, it was 5 or 6 boats before lunch. And
That's productivity at its finest.
He come out and said, that's the best piece of equipment I've ever seen. He said, it would took me all day to do what you guys did in the morning.
Well,
So,
Jeff, now I want to hear Jeff's take on this.
They used to take the boats on the railway and pull them up, and then you would roll them off the railway on
Jack 'em
poles
with
and
railroad
jack them
jacks.
across the yard. So you'd bring a boat up and you jack left and you jack right.
to
You
roll-
might get 2
roll them on
boats up a
logs.
day on a good day. And
Whoa,
we
whoa,
were
whoa.
hauling 20
2 boats a day
if you were
on a
lucky.
good day.
On a good day.
I'll tell you what, I've run a travel lift, 50 metric ton, and I'll tell you what, I have to give full credit to the Mills family on the Upper Bay at Long Point Marina. He's like, Pauly, we're looking to hit 7 today. And if we hit 7 or 6, that Dan was happy. And I'll tell you what, Dan's running the travel lift, and I'm the mutt on the ground, throwing cinder blocks, and so was Dan. Dan would hop right off, and he taught me so much.
Well, that's another thing that you're talking about, throwing cinder blocks. I mean, when I was younger, I was in pretty good shape because of just what you said, throwing cinder blocks.
Throwing cinder blocks, it kept you in shape.
12 creosoted timbers around.
Yeah.
When we tore our old pier down, it was 2x4 bomb crates that my father got from Edgewood Arsenal for free when he built those piers. And we creosoted them ourselves. That was my job when I was a little kid, putting them in the vat and soaking them in creosote. But when we tore our old piers out...
And look at Jeff chuckling like there's no tomorrow.
He knows.
He's chuckling his ass off right now.
But when we tore our old piers down, instead of throwing the lumber away, we made square pads. They're 18 by 18. We nailed 2x4s this way and that way. I've seen it in California. And we built all of our blocks now are 18 by 18, 2x4s. And you can carry a half a dozen of them lighter than a concrete block. Yet you can sit a 50-foot boat on them.
I'll tell you what,
safe.
you just educated me because I'm used to just throwing blocks.
Just hang around.
They stopped.
Oh, dude, you're stuck with me now. You have no idea the shitstorm you're involved in. What you guys could teach me, you have no idea how much I would love to
We're
learn.
not going to teach you.
Well, most of the insurance companies won't.
I love it. Did you hear that, Captain Buzz?
Oh, yeah, they're holding back.
Sam's like, I ain't teaching you everything.
They're holding back.
But they're holding back.
Well, listen, they want to lock the door anytime I'm coming.
Yeah. Bonnie, my East Coast sales director comes in and they're like, lock the door, Bonnie's here.
We've given her a bunch of crap, but she took it, so.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Bonnie's got some very thick skin because she puts up with my nonsense every day.
And I told her, him and I had a story that a salesman kept bugging the crap out of us, and we won't let him on the property. We won't answer the phone or anything else now because we told him we were busy, and he went out in the car and called back. Remember that?
Mhm.
That was Marine Life? No, not Marine Life. What was the one before that?
Can't remember, but we told him not to come back.
Mariner.
He didn't listen.
You're talking about the Mariners Exchange.
No,
Mariner
Mariner
Magazine.
Oh, the Mariners
He
Magazine?
was
The old
trying to
one.
sell us something. And he kept pestering us when we were busy, and he's not. He'll never come on the property or talk to us again.
And I'll tell you what, oh my God, that's awesome. Oh my God, this is great. I love it. Well, here's the multi-million-dollar question. What exactly do you love about All Docked Up? What we're sitting here
It's
today.
not Bonnie.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did you just hear that, Buzzy? That Buzz, I just got my head slammed in the door. Oh my God. Bonnie, our East Coast sales director, is incredible. But tell me, with old school roots, you've been in the business. Your father built a marina. You took it over. You and Jeff, you're so lucky to have them. You see this new piece of technology come through the door. Tell me what excites you about what we do.
What's exciting me is the fact that you guys are qualifying the customers as much as you're qualifying the repair center. And to me, that may lighten our load of qualifying customers. We don't know what we're getting until we get it.
You don't know what you're getting until the phone rings.
Well, you
but
don't
with
know
All
after your
Docked Up,
race.
you can see it come through the platform. You get a physical email. and you have a general understanding of what's going on.
And we know more about the boat and what the customer's got. Half the time they come in and we'll ask them what kind of motor they got. They don't know. So we'll ask them what color it is.
So, dude, Sam, I love this guy. Sam, you were so stuck with me. You have no idea. By the way, I can cook very well, so Jeff, you won't hate me too much.
But that's the truth. I mean, we're hoping that if you qualify the customer enough, that it takes the time that we have to take BSing with a customer to find out what he's got, what he wants.
Yeah, let's get down to the brass tacks here.
If you can educate the customer a little bit as to what he needs, half the time they come to us, they got no idea what they want. They have to talk to Jeff for 2 days for him to figure out what they're trying to tell him. So if you can qualify the customer and we know what kind of boat he's got, what kind of motors he's got, how many hours, whatever, the more information you can get from the customer to feed to us without spending a week getting it out of the customer.
We're saving you a tremendous amount of time and patience.
And qualifying the customer. If 10 of your repair centers say this guy is an ass, I don't want him.
Okay. I like it. Okay.
You know, I don't want him. If he owes everybody money, I don't want him.
This is coming down to the absolute honesty that I think that boaters should really hear what's going on. Because you two have been working 45, 50 plus years, killing yourselves to really provide the best service in the marine industry under the sun.
And sometimes,
but you need a little help doing it, though.
Right? And we need the customer, and that's what I told Jeff when Bonnie was annoying.
When?
Oh, hold on. For some reason, I have a feeling that Jeff's going to interject here in about a second.
I'm thrown under the bus a lot tonight.
Yes, you are. Yes,
actually, we got a half a dozen buses out there.
That's okay. That's all right. Bonnie's got the thickest skin of any woman I ever know.
But the thing that we're trying to get to is educating the customer enough to talk to us intelligently so we can spend less time on the phone
and be more time productive.
Yes.
This is a good topic to talk to, prospective boaters signing up on the platform at the Annapolis show the next couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely. Because let's face it, everybody, the people that are providing the service for your boat, the more that they're educated and they're spending less time on administrative nonsense and more productive time working on your vessel, getting it done and getting it out the door 100%. That's what matters.
This is great feedback, Sam. We really appreciate it. And
Sam, you have no idea how much I love this.
Well, we just did a job. Let me throw this out at you.
Shoot.
We just did a customer from Flying Point. Mm-hmm. We were sent a 32-foot
Flying Point
Marina.
Okay.
What kind of boat was it?
What kind of jet boat was it?
Excalibur?
No, the one in the tent that had the bottom.
Oh, no, that's not from there. This boat is for sale and it's been sold. But
no,
the chaparral.
The one that was in there before. The one that came from Flying Point or wherever it came from. 32 Maximum was taken to Flying Point for repair on the bottom. They couldn't do it, so they sent it to a body shop, a car body shop on a hydraulic trailer. They charged them $11,000 to smear some body filler on the outside of the boat, sand it and paint it, and away they went. Well, it broke again. It cracked again. So it got sent to us. Jeff got in there, and they billed the customer for cutting the floor out and repairing the bottom, not only from the outside, but from the inside. And I can guarantee you, and Jeff and I took pictures, that boat has never had the floor cut out of it, has never had the floor taken up in it, and has never been repaired from the inside. And we took tons of pictures. We had the surveyors here when we cut the floor out, but they charged them $11,000 to smear body filler on the outside and repaint the bottom.
On bottom, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So we cut the floor out. We cut the inside floor out, took the carpet out, and it was teak on the floor too, right? Removed the teak, cut the floor out, and I'll tell
Fix
them.
the bottom.
Well, we use.
Don't tell them.
All right.
Yeah.
He's like, don't
How
tell
to
him
make
this.
it stronger.
Did you hear that?
We can't
Don't
teach them
Jeff
how
said,
everybody
don't
how
tell
to make
them.
them stronger.
We have a unique way of making a boat a hell of a lot stronger than it was. And I'll guarantee you that if you turned that boat upside down today, you could park a tractor trailer on it.
I have no doubt. I
And
have
we
no
put
doubt,
the floor
Sam.
back in,
With you and Jeff
and the
together.
bill was $10,500.
Less money than that.
Less money than they charged to smear the body filler on the outside and paint the bottom. And we did it correctly. And I'll guarantee you that guy could run over a pile of rocks right now.
And that
And I'm
boat's
not
solid as a rock.
BSing you. He could run into rocks and not break that bottom. It's all back together. The customer can't even tell it was done, but the customer, we took tons of pictures and the customer was brought down. Stick your nose in here and see what we're doing because we want you to know what we're doing. And it's the same thing on every one of our jobs. You're going to get the parts back. I don't care if you don't want them. You're going to go out there and see the parts.
I was actually inside your shop and I saw an outdrive, a transom assembly, both hydraulic rams. I saw it all. And then I was looking out in your yard, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have a Grady White right now that has absolutely nothing in it at
Well,
all.
in fact,
all
I'll tell you a
rotten.
quick story on that. The guy came here he bought it and it needed a water pump or something. And he took the lower unit off and he put a water pump in it himself. And then he realized that the bellows were bad.
Okay. Which is
So he
common.
brought it here. His brother lives on a boat here, and he brought the boat down to us. We pulled the drive off, and it took two of us about an hour to get the drive off with crowbars and everything because the bellows had been leaking so long and so bad that
Everything
the
was
shaft
seized together.
was stuck in the gimbal bearing.
Your gimbal bearing and everything
So
was
we
fused together.
finally got it off, and I told the guy, "Come down here and look at this. I want you to stand here and look at this. I'm not sending you pictures. I'm not telling you.
You need to
You
come
need to come
here.
down here and see what we're going to do or what we need to do." So it didn't have power trim. Somebody had dumbed up the hole for the power trim wires and the trim indicator wires to go through.
I understand.
Just
I got you.
dumbed it up. So we said, "Look, do you want to fix this right?" And it needs a gimbal bearing. It needs
Your
universals
Yep.
besides the bellows. And I said, "Look, I'm not taking your money. If you don't want us to do the job, that's
The
fine.
right way.
We'll take it
The
in a box,
right way.
like the right way. You can have your box of parts and go down the road." So he said, "Okay, go ahead and do it." So we started pulling it apart the rest of the way. And the transom housing had signs of decay in it, so you could stick a knife through. And then we found out that the transom was rotten too. Jeff brought us.
So the
a
whole
little
transom
hammer.
assembly had to be ripped out of
So
the
we
boat
took
to
the
do
transom
job
assembly
way.
out, said, "Look, we're not going to do this half-assed. You didn't pay that much for the boat. If you want a boat in good shape, safe to run, his floor drains were underneath of there. They were rot. The hoses
So the
were
scuppers and everything were completely
Everything.
rotted out.
his through hull fitting for the bilge pump. The bilge pump kept running. Well, the through hull fitting was broke off, and the pump was
So
pulled
it was
back in the road.
allowing water to go right
So anyway,
back into it.
Long story short, we said, "Look, we're going to take the motor out, take the drive off. If you want us to do that, if you want to go this way, we're going to take the motor out, take the housing off. We'll sell you a new housing. All the labor, bellows, all the rest of the crap is all part of this stuff. Buy the whole thing and do it right.
Do it the right way.
But there's a chance the transom's rotten, and we won't know for sure until we get everything out.
Yeah, you
because
won't
it's
know
been
until the
sitting on the
transom
beach
assembly
for
is
7
completely out.
years or 8 years or something.
And you don't have a
So
a
it's
crystal
probably
ball.
already
You don't know.
dry. So we said, "We'll take this out. We'll call you down here and we'll tell you what you need to do." So we took it out. It's rotten. And we told him today, "Do you want to spend the money on this or junk it or whatever?" And he said,
Because
"No."
you only have two options.
really
at that
like the
stage of
boat.
game.
And what am I going to buy for 20 grand? That's what he's going to have in the boat. when
Nothing.
It's all done. You can't buy a motor for 20 grand.
You can't buy a motor.
So he gave us the okay to go ahead and work up a price and give him the whole deal today, including the oil pan was rotten.
Well,
we
oil
had-
pans are very rotten. Water
Yeah.
sitting in the bilge is very common. Moisture
So
build up over
we told
time.
the guy what he needs and how he needs to do it right. If he doesn't want to do it, we'll hand him everything back in a box and he can do whatever he wants to do. But we're not half-assing it.
No, because that's not what you built your pride on. That's not what your father
And
built your. I love this.
People are going to go down the road and say, Weavers did this or did that. Like we've had guys come in our shop and say, how about if I sand the boat? Will you paint it?
No.
Sanding's
And I don't
90%
blame
of the
you.
job.
I don't blame you.
But they're not going to say, oh, I sanded the boat, Weaver painted it. They're going to say Weaver painted it.
Yeah, it's 100% or nothing.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys, you and Jeff, Sam Weaver, Mr. Jeff, head of service, you guys blew me out of the water. And I'm going to ask you this. Can I come back to you guys and touch? Oh, Sam, you're stuck with me. Sam, I hate to break
As
it.
long as you bring her, no.
Well, Miss Bonnie, me and Miss Bonnie are connected at the hip.
Well,
She wants to cut my throat sometimes. I understand. He's going into the drawer. What's happening? Oh, he brings out the
We
machete.
can sever that.
Buzzy, you got to see this. I'll tell you what. He goes ahead. Oh, a minute. I'm going to show you this monster right now.
I think he's wanted to use
Buzzy,
that on me.
how you doing? Look at the size of this monster.
Look at that.
Gentlemen, I will tell you what. Jeff, Sam, I am so thankful. Thank you for coming on the podcast, to both of you. And I'll tell you what. Boaters everywhere, thank you for your hard work. And if they don't, they're going to answer it to me and Miss Bonnie. And she's more ruthless than I am any day of the week.
Paul, it sounds like
Except when she's here.
I love you too, Sam.
we need a part 2 with Jeff.
No,
and
this
Sam.
is a part 2 because we have 2 incredible seasoned professionals in the industry that are not going to gel coat it for you. They're not going to sugarcoat it for you. They're going to tell you what's going on. And I think boaters nowadays need to understand what's really happening, and let's cut out this sugar crap shit.
Well, I like the idea that it used to be an old commercial that an educated consumer is their best customer. And if we at All Docked Up can provide a little bit more education to the boater so that they can talk intelligently to the service provider, we're going to change the industry. And that's what we're all about.
That's everything that we're about. And you know what I love? Sam, you've been in this business forever, and you're willing to help alldockedup.com physically change the way things are being done.
It might not be
You
as
and
cool.
Jeff together.
It might not be as cool as a 38-foot hydraulic trailer back in the day, but it's pretty damn cool.
But it's pretty damn cool. I think so too. Well, I'll tell you what, we are out of time. And I'll tell you what, everybody say, Buzzy, thank Cap, we got Jeff, we got, Sam Weaver.
Yeah, gentlemen,
Weaver
thank you
Marine
very much.
Services.
And
Guys, thank you.
I look forward
so much.
to meeting you in person, and I want to see the shop. I want to see the operation because I'll
All
be
right, well,
fascinated.
stop being a fugazi and get your ass out of Delaware and get your ass down here and come see the number 1 twos. And Jeff, I'll tell you what, I am a no nonsense, straightforward, to the point type of guy. Mr. Sam, Mr. Jeff, Buzzy, stop. Yay!
If you have any time left over, you can come see the bar.
Oh,
That's
you got invited to the bar,
I'm in.
Buzzy.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, everybody, guys, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. All Docked Up, standing by on 6/8.
Captain Buzz on All Docked Up, standing by on 6/8.
Guys, have yourselves a great night. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good night.